What's up, Ice Snack? Okay, so second video this week I'm gonna drop on is about how to patch your kayak. I ride my kayaks hard during the summer. This kayak right here is my main river boat. It's the Pescador Pro 10-footer. As you can see, it is pretty beat up, pretty damaged. I got it 3 years ago. It has done wonders as far as like how long it's lasted. I mean, man, I probably put over 1,000 river miles on this boat alone. So I do, however, have a little rip. It's not even a hole, it's a rip. And I think it's a little bit of a bad design, but hey, you know, you gotta live with it and get it patched up. So let me show y'all what I'm talking about. So it's not a hole, but it's a rip. You see this rip right there? You can kind of push down and it's like a 2.5 inch to 3 inch rip. So what I'm gonna do is kind of show you how to patch, you know, rips. If you have a hole, you can do similar to what I'm doing, but you know, I'm gonna show you how to patch this rip. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so talking about what you're gonna need to patch a kayak. Kayaks are made of different things. Most of your higher end kayaks, your roto-formed or anything I would say above $500 to $600 plus is going to be a higher end kayak. It's going to have that HDPE, you know, high density polyurethane plastic, and it's going to last you a long time. But when they do have problems or they do have, you know, cracks or things like that, this is one way to fix it. So first thing you're going to need is some HDPE plastic. So I think I actually cut that little mark out, but what HDPE plastic is, basically any 5-gallon bucket. This is a Home Depot bucket lid. It is HDPE plastic. It's got a little triangle with some arrows and a number 2 in it. That is what you need. Look, I got it right here. Check it out. This is actually off of my other Pescador Pilot. See that triangle? See the number 2? That is the HDPE 2 plastic that you need. They do make other plastics. They do have an HDPE 4 that is too soft. It will not work. It needs to be HDPE 2. I'll see if I can post like a picture of what that looks like right here. The second thing you're gonna need is some sort of heat gun. I've got a heat gun for work, so it's easy, it's readily available. These are like 15, 20 bucks at Home Depot or any department store that you have by you. Something to heat that plastic up. You can bond or plastic weld the 2 pieces of plastic you're working with together. The next thing you would need is like a Dremel or a cutting tool or some type of high quality scissor to go ahead and get cuts kind of like this that you need to place over the hole, the rip, whatever has happened to your kayak. Okay, so the third thing that's really just kind of applied to this situation, I don't know if you can apply it to a hole in a kayak, is I actually have a little plastic welder right here. It's a little soldering gun. I'm gonna use it as a little plastic welder, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to, before I do any of the plastic bonding or anything like that, I'm going to kind of bond the rip back together. Just initially. Obviously we're going to be adding a lot more plastic and bonding 2 pieces together, but I am going to bond this little rip together. So basically just sealing that hole or rip that is currently there. You might not cover it 100%, but you probably will cover it 90+%, and it'll do what's needed. Okay, so look closely. That rip that was there a while ago is no longer there. I basically mended both pieces of plastic, the top and bottom, back together. But I'm not going to trust that. I'm not going to be like, hey, that's it, the rip is fixed, because it really isn't. It's really taped back together at this point. Now we're going to take our strips and go ahead and plastic weld it together. Okay, so now that I'm done mending those 2 pieces of plastic back together, you're gonna go ahead and plug in your heat gun, get that ready, and take your Dremel, I've already done this step of course, and make holes the size, or you know, strips, or if you've got a hole, make a hole cover the size that you need for, you know, the application that you're using it for. So right here I've got about 5 inches of HDPE plastic from that lid cut to kind of fit over these, and I'm going to show you how to bring these two together with the kayak. One more thing you're gonna need. You're gonna need a set of like pliers or gripping tools so you can hold that plastic that you're gonna be adding onto here, not with your bare hands because obviously it'll burn you. You're gonna need to heat the plastic where the affected area is until it's got kind of like a wet look. Not super wet, obviously, so it doesn't poke a hole through it or anything, but wet to the touch where you can stick it and you can see your fingerprint in it and it's kind of tacky. That surface is gonna be ready to then start heating this plastic until it gets to almost a goo, and then you're gonna mend them together. So the next step is gonna be kind of hard for me to talk and do it at the same time, so I'm just gonna show you a video of it being done. Okay, now that it's kind of wet and heated, I'm gonna go ahead and heat this at the same time, keeping the kayak behind it so any excess heat can keep that already wet portion kind of moist and warm, just so you know, it stays ready to be plastic welded. So again, you want to heat this piece until it's pretty much like an almost liquid. Just slap it on here and attach it. Okay, so now I've kind of added this piece of plastic to this piece of plastic. Again, it's moist kind of to the, just sitting over it right now. It's extremely hot. I work with a lot of hot surfaces for work, so my fingers are kind of used to it. You do not, or you get burned easily. I wouldn't recommend touching it with your hands. I would recommend getting maybe something like a flathead screwdriver or something like that. So we're gonna let this cure for a second and then go ahead and add the second strip to the rest of the cut. So now we're going to be repeating that process with this piece. Okay, so check it out. We are like, I don't know, 75% of the way done. That rip has now pretty much been adhered over. We've got a new layer, 1/4 inch thick, a little less, 1/8 inch thick of new plastic. I'm just kind of going over it, making sure the bond is solid. Most people would probably actually stop here. But I'm kind of like a neat freak, and I'm gonna go ahead and Dremel some of the high sides down and the where like the two pieces of plastic came together to kind of make it a lot more smooth, so when I'm going over rocks or rapids it doesn't catch, you know, where the two pieces of plastic kind of come together and start to lift it up. So I'll show that process in the next clip. So we're back a few hours later. The plastic that we added to cover up that rip has now cured and fully bonded with the plastic of the kayak. I mean, it is strong as it gets. I mean, freaking awesome. Look, can't lift it up, can't peel it up. It is fully adhered to the plastic. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and take my Dremel, sand down the edges and sand a little bit of the kayak to again kind of further mend and make a basic like lipless border, so when rocks and everything goes over it, it's scratching the yak and the new plastic, not lifting the new plastic up from the yak. Okay, ice snag, so we are done. It took about probably 2.5 hours total, and really only like 30 minutes of actual work. The rest was just cure time. So I've gone ahead and sanded down the edges, so whenever you run over trees, rocks, stumps, things in the river, miscellaneous things, you've got a smooth hit, not a catching hit to lift up this new plastic. So again, the initial rip was probably from there to there. We've obviously covered about 1 inch after it and 1 inch before it, just to again tight lock in that rip, make sure nothing, you know, gets in there, and we will see how long it holds. Like I said, about 30 minutes of actual work, 2.5 hours total of waiting, and it cost me, I already had all the tools, it cost me $1.50 for that top. So $1.50 for the top and some time, and you're good to go. So this kayak now can hopefully last, you know, another year or so with trips and things like that. If it happens to get damaged again, well, then I'll repair it again. But if you ask me, that looks pretty darn good. And I hope this helps you. If you have any other tips that you know of as far as fixing kayaks, go ahead and comment them down below. If you have any questions about any of the tools I use, comment down below. Guys, we're almost to 1,000 subscribers. We're like at 925. Let's go, guys. We need the shares, we need the likes, we need the comments. Appreciate all of it. It really helps the channel grow every time you do that. And if you've got any ideas of that giveaway, which is coming right around the corner, let me know. So guys, hopefully this helps you out. And like I was saying, I believe you can do this for a hole as well. You're just gonna have to work around it a little different because this was a rip in a straight line, not a hole. But I believe a similar process can be done. But I would take some extra precautions as far as that because of the diameter, depending on the diameter of the hole. So guys, thank you again, and we'll see you on the next video.